Swami Nityanamane Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sanyavari Paschatya Desatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sanyavari Paschatya Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gauravakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Bolo Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki Jai, Shri Shri Krishna Baram Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radhashama Sundar Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Ki Jai, Go Seva Ki Jai, Shri Kurmadev Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi, all glorious to the assembled devotees, all glorious to Sri Guru and Gauranga, glorious to Sri Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Nami. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Bacharine Nevasesha Shanyavari Pastacharya Shatarine. Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghushako Shri Jiva Gopako, Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghushako, Shri Jiva Gopako. Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipano, Sadharma Samstapako. Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipano, Sadharma Samstapako. Lokanam Itakarino Tribhuvane, Manyo Sharanya Karo. Lokanam Itakarino Tribhuvane, Manyo Sharanya Karo. Radha Krishna Padara Vinda Bhajana, Nandena Mataliko. Radha Krishna Padara Vinda Bhajana, Nandena Mataliko. Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghushako, Shri Jiva Gopalako. Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghushako, Jiva Gopala Go. Go Premanandi. Shiv Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Welcome. Nice to see you. You can translate into Russian?
Unfortunately, I have only 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, what a shame. Hare Krishna. Otherwise you could translate for Advaita Anirada. You can't stay any longer, huh?
I can't. Sorry.
Such is life. Hare Krishna. How long are you in Vrindavan?
3 days.
2 days. And then? And then?
Stay only a week.
Another week. Stay till Prabhupada disappearance. Srila Prabhupada Tirobhav. What date is that? 31st? 31st October. Prabhupada Tirobhav. Hare Krishna. And then you go back to France or where?
Yes, I will be in France in the middle of November.
11th?
Yes.
What day we fly? We fly before 7th or 8th. Something. To France. Hare Krishna. So we're reading a few days ago from Srila Prabhupada Preface or Preface to the Nectar of Devotion. So we'll continue reading from where we left off. And we started to hear a description by Srila Prabhupada of the meaning of bhakti. Of bhakti. And then he described the meaning of rasa. So bhakti means simple terms, devotional service, very simple. And rasa means, what does rasa mean? Pardon? Rasa gula. What does it mean? A very sweet. A very sweet taste. Rasa. A sweet, mellow taste. So it's a sweet, mellow taste of devotional service. And then Srila Prabhupada starts to describe the difference between the rasa, because he's described that without Haribol Balaram, without a taste, there's no impetus for what we do in life. We may be forced to do it, for whatever reason, but to actually do it, or want to do it, we have to have a taste there. Or there has to be a conviction that there will be a taste if we continue to do it. But there has to be some result, some pleasurable experience, whatever that may be. So the rasa, even in the material world, this is the general impetus for activity, endeavor, to get some satisfaction is the nature of the soul. So then Prabhupada goes into a little description of the difference between the effects of bhakti rasa and whatever, karma rasa, jnana rasa, whatever kind of activity one is endeavoring to try to attain a nice taste, to get some good results. So, here we go, So Prabhupada primarily here is describing how the material taste is only limited. It is not something which continues or can be experienced all the time. For instance, we could take sex life, which is probably the most, in general speaking at least, the most intense and the highest form of material rasa for most people. But how long can you partake in sex life? How many hours a day? Hare Krishna. How many hours a day? Well, she may not engage in any, but an ordinary person, how many hours a day can they do? Maybe 3, 4, I don't know. You get pretty wiped out after that, I think, isn't it? And even if you're not wiped out, you're probably hungry or tired or fed up or something or another. No more fun there, it's burned out, you know. And you just can't do it. You can only do it so much, and then that's it, right, Balaram? So everything's like that, isn't it, in the material world? Even music, you can't just play music non-stop, you know, in the material world. You may like it. You certainly get a taste there, but it's limited, it has its limits. And so that's described, and then, in general speaking, you have to, well, probably gives the example of a man who works. Now, when you're working in a factory, usually, sometimes the people get taste from it, but usually it's a bit austere. It's not very, you know, if you had your choices, you probably wouldn't be doing it, you know, if you had open choice. But you're doing it to get money so that you can get some rasa, some taste, some liquor or something or another, whatever you do with it, some pleasure there. So Prabhupada describes this as being bhoga tyaga. And the whole material world works on this principle. We do actions and we get reactions. You do good work, which means usually you have to give in charity or perform austerities, follow rules and regulations and so on. Then you get a heavenly result. But you don't stay there. I remember then you have to come back when your money runs out. In the West, every year, when I was young at least, people would go for holidays for 2 weeks. They work all year long, save up every month, every week, right? £2 a week or something. Save up all year long. And then in July, we'd all go on holiday. The whole town would go on holiday. I'm sure in Yorkshire they all go to Skegness or Scarborough or somewhere, isn't it? Filey or something, huh? Scarborough, yeah. Scarborough, Skegness, Filey, all these beautiful Bridlington. And if they lived in Lancashire, they went to Blackpool or Rhyl on the North Wales coast for their holidays. We lived in the southwest, we all went to Weston-super-Mare. 50,000 people all work all year together and they all go to the same beach. We sit there as the rain's coming down with an umbrella over our heads, enjoying our holiday. Right? And then you have to go back to work again and work for another 50 weeks so you can save up to go back again the next year, if you're lucky. Of course it's changed now, they go to Mediterranean. But it's the same principle, work, then you get a bit of pleasure, they have to go back to work again. Some people let their karma is such that they have more or less. But it's whatever it is, it's limited. Both in its degree of pleasure and in its the continuation, or the perseverance, or the length of the pleasure. So, and on top of that, material rasa has a karmic reaction. You're burning off, if you're enjoying, you're burning off your good karma, and you're creating more karma at the same time. So it's binding. Material activities are also binding us in this material world. Whereas the rasa of bhakti rasa delivers us from this world. Of course, we can have a mixture there, which takes a bit longer. But in principle, bhakti rasa, the taste which comes spontaneously from connecting or our lives we heard also the definition of devotional service as being full engagement or sadhana. The other day, full engagement of our senses in the service of Krishna, our mind and senses. So when we're fully engaged, there is no karmic reactions. There is no karma. It's akarma. In the material world, it's karma or vikarma, but devotional service is akarma, no reaction. So there's another quite big difference between the two. And another effect is that the activities world of trying to enjoy, people are trying to get a material rasa for their own pleasure. Basically everything's based on my pleasure. Whereas bhakti rasa is based on Krishna's pleasure. The more the intention, the objective is the pleasure of Krishna, then the more one actually experiences pleasure. It's kind of Sounds contradictory almost, huh? The more you sacrifice and give pleasure to Krishna, the more pleasure you experience. You think it'd be less, isn't it? It's like if you got $1 million, the more you give away, the less you got, right? Have to go. When will we see you next?
Maybe tomorrow.
Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow, well, yeah, well, if you got email or contact, okay, you can let people know what is the program. It's day by day right now. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We're a French devotee, Sankirtan devotee. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Hare Bol. We have quite a few nice Russian devotees living in France. Hare Krishna. Where were we? Pardon? Yeah, you've got $1 million. You give away 100,000. How much have you got? 900. You give away 800. How much have you got? You've got 900. Now you've got 100 left. You give away 99,000. You've only got 1,000 left. You're poor. But in spiritual life, when you give everything to Krishna, what have you got? Nothing, right? So you haven't even got electricity. What have you got when you give everything to Krishna? You get more. It's unique. Maybe you don't get more money, maybe you do. But you certainly get more of what we're really looking for. What is the use of money? Some people just, for the sake of it, they get pleasure out of having it, you know. Piles of money locked up in their cupboards, right? They can advertise it or not advertise it, but they're happy to have a lot of so-called wealth. But what can you do with paper money? Even more so, what can you do with numbers in the bank? They're not much use unless you can get some actual, tangible pleasure from it. They don't have any value in it themselves, and they're not very tasty, are they? You ever tried eating a 500 rupee note? Is it tasty? You could light the fire with it, but that wouldn't be very satisfying either, would it? You can make a kite or something. You could maybe you could wear a dress made of rupees. I don't know. You'd probably quickly be stripped. You get arrested probably. Whatever. You can't do much with it. It's not much use. Whereas, it's really what we're really looking for is the inner taste, isn't it? Satisfaction within, peace of mind, happiness, feeling within, feeling of happiness within. It's hard to see. I mean, just watching the mother this afternoon with the baby, taking the milk from the mother's udder, and you could see how happy the mother was. She was so happy that the baby was drinking her milk. You could see it. She was licking the backside of the baby and her tail was wagging and she was like licking away there as her calf was drinking the milk. She was getting great pleasure. Getting pleasure. We may not be able to relate to that, but we have a different body. Different people get different temporary pleasures. But the pleasure of bhakti rasa is eternal, isn't it? It's eternal. So Prabhupada's describing this. It's not bhoga tyaga. And the material word is flickering happiness, chapala sukha. And then of course everything's finished. When the time of death comes, what have you got left? What have you got left? Just the karma, nothing else. A lot of lamentation and one's karma. Whereas in bhakti ras, at the time of death nothing is lost. Even if one hasn't attained perfection, one achieves a body to continue with one's devotional practices. Or one goes back to Godhead. Bhakti rasa, the mellow, relished. Pardon? No, I find that. Relished in the transcendental loving service of the Lord does not finish with the end of life. It continues perpetually. and it is therefore called Amrita. So the next part of Bhakti Rasa is Bhakti Rasa Amrita. It's Amrita, that which does not end or die, but exists eternally. This is confirmed in all the Vedic literatures. Bhagavad Gita says, a little advancement in Bhakti Rasa can save the devotee from the greatest danger, which we just mentioned, missing this human life. The rasas derived from our feelings of in social life, in family life, or in the greater family life of altruism, philanthropy, nationalism, socialism, communism, etc., do not guarantee that one's next life will be a human being. We may not take birth as a human, we may take birth as some other species, but Bhakti Rasa at least guarantees that much. One will take human birth. Devas are taken into account by a superior authority known as Daiva, or the authority of God. This Daiva is explained in Bhagavad Gita as the prime cause of everything, and in Srimad Bhagavatam it's stated that a man takes his next body by Daiva Netrena, which means by the supervision of the authority of the Supreme. In an ordinary sense, Daiva is explained as destiny. We were hearing that from Jayadvaita Maharaj this morning. Daiva supervision gives us a body selected from 8,400,000 forms. The choice does not depend on our selection, but is awarded to us according to our destiny. I don't want to take a body as a hog or a mosquito or something, whatever. I'm sorry, your destiny is such. And you have Daiva, the arrangement of the Lord, Daiva Netrena. If our body at present is engaged in the activity of Krishna consciousness, it is guaranteed that we will have at least a human life in our next birth. A human being engaged in Krishna consciousness, even if unable to complete the course of Bhakti Yoga, takes birth in the higher divisions of human society, so he can automatically further his advancement in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, all bona fide activities in Krishna consciousness are Amrita, permanent. And this is the subject matter of Nectar of Devotion, a discussion of these permanent activities, the permanent activities of devotional service. That's what Nectar Devotion is all about, to help to guide us in such a way that our activities can become Amrita. Sometimes the word Amrita is also nectar too, isn't it? Some may say nectar also. Sometimes we just describe it. So it's not only permanent, but it's nectarian also. Not just a taste, but a nectarian taste. A permanent nectarian taste. Well, I guess everybody would like to have that. Although it may sound a bit boring, that's another factor regarding the difference between material taste and spiritual taste. Material taste generally may go up, then it usually goes down. How many of us here today like ice cream? Anybody? Ice cream. Anybody like ice cream? Anybody? Put your hand up if you like ice cream. I can't see very well because of the blinding light. Balaram does not like ice cream. You don't like ice cream? Sort of? You like ice cream? No, you don't like ice cream. She doesn't like, your wife doesn't like ice cream. You like ice cream? No. Too cold, huh? Living in Russia. Hey, anyway, we'll put a little wall over there. Okay, who likes ice cream? Everybody in here likes ice cream, right? Okay, we'll take the wall back again. Okay, here's a nice ice cream, eat one. Okay, who likes pizza? Ah, the lights come on. Who likes pizza? Hands up if you like pizza. Okay, that's got 9 out of 9. So, pizza it is. Okay, pizza time. You eat one big pizza, okay? Wow, far out, a good one. Kurma's just made a pizza, and it's a good one. Okay, you can eat it? What about 2? Probably. What about 3? Oh, I mean, with, one after the other, not like next day. 3? They're quite big, they're this big. 3? Anybody? Because you're going to say yes, we're going to have to prove it. 4. How many can take 4? Balaram's still nodding away there. He probably never taken 4 big pizzas. He doesn't know what it's like. Huh? 5? 6? 7? 8? No! I don't want it, but I can't eat a single thing. I'm bursting. No, you've got to eat another one. Out come the pizzas, right? Screw them all out. There's a point where you just cannot eat anymore, right? It's actually hellish. It's a horrible feeling. Forcing more down the throat. Your stomach's becoming nauseous, and you're feeling giddy and maybe a headache even. Horrible. You can't take any more. That's it. Limit. I'd have to pay you to take more. You might pay me 50 euros for one big pizza, and maybe 20 for the next, maybe 5 for the next, nothing for the next. And after that, I've got to pay you to take one. You're feeling too sick. So like that, material enjoyment is like that. You can't forcibly keep doing it. With spiritual pleasure, it isn't like that. It ever increases, you see. It's not like it's the same thing every time, although it looks like it. Otherwise, why would you be chanting Hare Krishna every day? Isn't it? I've not heard many devotees. I mean, I've heard some people say it's boring, but I can't think of any devotees, and maybe they say, oh, it's so boring chanting Hare Krishna. Very rare, if at all. I can't remember anyone. Every day we're chanting the same thing, right? Because it's connected to Bhakti Ras. It's Amrita. We may not be, because of interference due to our material attachments, we may not be experiencing the full nectar of associating with the holy name, but something's there. Something is there. So the subject matter of Bhagavad Nectar devotion is to bring us to that point. Yesterday, or the day before, whenever it was, I don't know when it was, but we heard that the subject matter of the nectar devotion was Lord Chaitanya's movement in educating, the purpose of it is in educating and elevating everyone to the exalted post of a Goswami. That was one of the things. And how do we do that? Persons engaged in Krishna consciousness movement may take advantage of this great literature and be very solidly situated in Krishna consciousness. And here we see that the subject matter of nectar devotion is to bring us to that point where our activities are Amrita. Bhakti Amrita. This eternal engagement in Bhakti Ras can be understood by a serious student who studies the nectar devotion. Adoption of Bhakti Ras or Krishna consciousness will immediately. Do you have this book in Russian? Nectar of Devotion? You don't have it on your mobile or Kindle? You don't have it on your mobile in Russian? If you want, you can follow. I'm reading from the book. If you want to look on your mobile, you could see it in Russian, if you want to. It's up to you. It will immediately bring one to an auspicious life, free from anxiety, and will bless one with transcendental existence, thus minimizing the value of liberation. Sometimes we wonder, isn't it? I mean, gee, a life free of anxiety. Free of anxiety. But we sometimes see we have anxiety. We're chanting, we're trying to do service, we're trying to become servants of devotees or something. So why is it we still have anxiety? Why do we sometimes feel anxious? Why do we feel distressed sometimes? Of course, naturally, if something happens to our body, there's pain there. But not taking that as an example, but we suffer other types of anxiety. Mental anxiety of various kinds. Why? Is it because we're chanting? Is it because we have something to do with Krishna? Maybe he's the sort reservoir of everything, so he's also the reservoir of anxiety. Yes. I'm entering to the I'm entering into the reservoir of suffering. Krishna is like a reservoir. No. Why do we sometimes feel undue suffering? Well, maybe we think it's due, but I mean, like not from like breaking your leg or something like that. Why? And we can understand if we lose somebody in our family, as all of us have at some point of time, we feel anxiety there also and stress, at least for some time. But why is it that it says here that one's free from anxiety? Auspicious life, free from anxiety. On one side, yes, we're still attached to the body concept of life. We're still attached to the objects of the senses, past and present, and maybe in future. We're still attached. And when things don't go our conditional way, we become disturbed. Even though we're chanting Hare Krishna, we're not in pure consciousness. On one side is there because we're still attached to the body concept of life. Anything else?
Forgetfulness.
Pardon?
Forgetting Krishna.
Forgetting Krishna, indeed. Yes, exactly. There's there's a few positive ones. They're kind of like negative ones. The positive one is that Prabhupada describes that when a devotee is suffering, they're getting freed of their karmic reactions. And if we take shelter in suffering, you can get out of the cycle. What it practically means is a devotee free from anxiety means that they're not engaging in any activities which will cause future anxiety. All material activities, even good ones, create future anxiety of some kind or another. They don't free us from the ocean of anxiety, fear and so on. Whereas devotional service does. But the effect won't be experienced necessarily immediately. And we still have, as we just heard, various material attachments. But if we continue to engage in devotional service, then gradually those reactions, or the attachments and the reactions therefrom, will gradually subside. The problem is when we turn, it's like Baba gives the example of a fan, when we turn the fan off, it doesn't stop immediately, it continues to go on. And if we turn it on again, it's likely to start up again. Except for in Vrindavan, where there may not be any electricity sometimes, but generally it will start up again. So but if we keep the switch off, even though it's still the fan's going, or whatever it is, the heater or something or another, at least it's going to stop. We're not doing anything more to cause future activities or future karmas, which the reactions of which are birth, death, disease, old age, various kinds of sufferings, Bhoga, Tyaga, whatever, all different kinds of reactions are there. So devotional service brings that to an end and frees us from all kinds of anxiety. If we're fully engaged in devotional service, there's no room for anxiety, is there? Right? Like everyone here has some area of devotional service which you feel some pleasure for, otherwise you wouldn't probably be here. Is that a fact? What do you like, Mukunda?
Cooking.
Cooking, okay, he likes to cook. Now, it's amazing, isn't it? You don't get paid, they pay you for it? No. You may not even eat what you cook sometimes. You may or may not, but sometimes the cook doesn't eat what they cook. But they get great pleasure out of cooking. It's Krishna's reciprocation. Tulsi, what do you like? Harinam Sankirtan. And when you're on Harinam Sankirtan, I mean, if you really into cooking, you can cook and cook and cook and cook. And maybe you haven't experienced that or not, but I mean, you can cook for all day long. It's like here, Samadhi of Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu. If you go to the Samadhis, you may, who's that? Vibhu Chaitanya? You never heard of him. Maybe everyone else, you may not have heard of them either. You may have heard of most of them. But Vibhu Chaitanya was such a humble soul. He joined here in Vrindavan in 1976, and he was a retired man. He just retired quite early. He retired, I guess, in his 40s. He retired from family life, he retired from business, and he just joined the temple here, I remember, in 76. And he was just, at the beginning, he was just washing pots and doing menial things. And then he got initiated by Prabhupada, and Prabhupada asked him to cook. Difficult in those days finding cooks here. So Prabhupada asked him to cook, and he said, I want you to cook for the deities. And he said, I want you to cook, I don't know if he told him exactly, but he ended up cooking 6 offerings a day. And that takes most of the time, 6 offerings a day he would cook. Breakfast, lunch, 2 in the evening for the sweets, maybe 5 offerings, including the sweets, Mangalaki. He was cooking non-stop. Non-stop for maybe 30 years. Never a day's break. Never. I don't think he ever had a day's break. And Prabhupada said to him, he said, you don't need to chant your rounds, just cook. He did chant his rounds, but Prabhupada said, you don't need to. Just cook constantly for the deities. He was amazing, such a humble person. He left his body maybe, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, I can't remember, maybe less. But a wonderful devotee, and he was getting very special mercy. And then others have other tastes in devotion. So many of us here relish kirtan. Rasikananda also likes kirtan. What else do you like, Rasika? Anything else? Pardon? Taking prasad, okay. I guess we all do that. So a real nice taste. Mohan?
Hearing lectures.
Hearing lectures, very nice. Very wonderful. When you're hearing lectures, you don't think of anything else, do you? You're not in anxiety, you're completely absorbed in Bhakti Ras. And when you're cooking, you're completely absorbed in Bhakti Ras. When you're in kirtan, completely, well, pretty much. And when you're taking prasadam, pretty much, isn't it? You're absorbed. There's no anxiety. You're protected. You're in the ocean of bhakti. So like that, well, if we can keep in that situation, and there's actually no anxiety. Anxiety is a result of our previous association, but if we can fully absorb ourselves in the association of Krishna and devotional service, then there's not going to be any effect of anxiety. It is a little bit back and forth right now, isn't it? Back and forth. So this is the eternal engagement of the devotee, is in Bhakti Ras. But one has to be serious to understand this. Bhakti Ras itself is sufficient to produce a feeling of liberation, freedom, because it attracts the attention of the Lord. And this is another major aspect of Bhakti Ras. Whereas material Ras, or even Jnana Ras, or whatever, Yoga Ras, whatever people get taste from, doesn't really attract the attention of the Lord. Material activities attracts the attention of Yamaraj. Lord, he's also Lord. But he has a different business. Just like in the country, if you fight for the country in the war, you attract the attention of the king or the government, whatever, you get rewarded, right? But if you go out on the street with a machine gun and shoot people dead on the street, you may also attract the attention. But you'll get put to death or arrested or something, you get a different result. Kind of the opposite result. So it's kind of the opposite result, really. But people don't realize or understand. So that will gradually elevate us from the material condition to spiritual condition. Gradually, Prabhupada says. The engagement in devotional service. And then, spiritual, the devotee becomes purified. Purified. One of the definitions, and this definition is being mentioned here, in the Nectar of Devotion. There's one verse which is called the Paribhasha Sutra, but there's another verse which is almost akin to that, which is mentioned here. Freed from all designations. Famous verse. Who knows that? Samaki, you know? Sava? Yeah. Tatparajena Nirmalam. Ishikena Rishikesha Bhakti Sevuchiteda. This is a definition of devotional service. When our senses are fully engaged in the service of the Supreme Person, then one becomes freed of all designations and the heart becomes completely pure. No more hankering, no more lamenting. because they're constantly in touch with Bhakti Rasa. And a purified sense are engaged in the service of the Lord one becomes situated firmly in Bhakti Rasa life. And any action performed for the satisfaction of Krishna in this transcendental Bhakti Rasa stage of life can be relished perpetually, ever increasing. Now, Bhakti Rasa also has an ever increasing pleasure. In the material we've already heard, it goes up and down like the waves on the ocean. The Bhakti Rasa is ever increasing. Not like in our economic worlds where things go up, speculation, then they crash down, go up and down. Ever increasing. When we invest in the Krishna bank, then our assets ever increase. You put your money in some other bank. What's the most famous bank in India? Bank of India? What's the biggest bank in India? You don't know. State Bank of India is the biggest. So, but then there are many other banks, aren't there? Bank of Baroda, this one, that one. You put your money in there and you may get, 0.5% interest or something. You don't get much. And the charges are usually more than the interest. You don't end up with anything. Or whatever. But spiritual assets are ever increasing. So then we go on. How Bhakti Ras turns into eternity. So in the beginning one is trained to follow regulations under the guidance of an acharya. Gradually one is elevated. And as we become elevated, devotional service becomes automatic, and then spontaneous eagerness develops. So there are 12 kinds of rasas, as will be explained in this book. And by renovating our relationship with Krishna in one of the 5 primary rasas, we can live eternally in full knowledge and bliss. Not that we should cultivate the 7 indirect relationships. They may appear sometimes. Horror and ghastliness and all these things. Heroism and chivalry. And they may have their place like spices in a meal, but they're like spices in the rasas. They add a little bit of flavor, a little bit of excitement as well. They have their part to play. But they're not the primary thing. If someone invites you to lunch, what's for lunch today? Well, we've got cumin soup, we've got chili, the Indian people, they do the chili chutney, and they like that. They're very much into that humor. And then we've got asafoetida pakoras, and we've got cardamom halava, and it's kind of what type of lunch will it be? Nothing but spices. One preparation, just fried spices, and that's your lunch. Big pile of cumin seeds, and some boiled, something or another, boiled anise seeds or something. You can't live like that. But then if they're mixing with the main courses compatibly. So the Nectar devotion is all about compatibility. Learning how devotional service should be compatible. And that psychologically is the essence also of material ras, compatibility. Relationships, sometime this morning it was discussed, why are there so many divorces in ISKCON, right? You heard that question? Pretu didn't ask it, someone else asked it. Why are there so many divorces in ISKCON? And Jayadvaita Maharaj gave a very quick answer. What did he say? Because there are so many marriages in ISKCON. If nobody got married, there'd be no divorce. It kind of wasn't really a practical answer, but it was an honest answer. It's a factual answer, but it's all over the world the same thing. It's not just in ISKCON. Everywhere divorces left, right, and center are there. But the primary reason, in one sense, is incompatibility. And that's the problem everywhere. The whole problem of the material world is the soul is incompatible in the material world. Full stop. We don't belong here. Right? Like a fish out of water. You don't expect the fish to be happy out of water. You can put some goggles on and a kind of a bottle with some water in it or something, and it like this. I'm saying if you put this underwater, you can put a bottle, but how long does it last? Not long. You're not happy down there. You can't do anything. You can't reciprocate with people there underwater, right? They try, but you can't really do it. You're a different consciousness. So in this material world, the soul doesn't really belong. We try to imitate the spiritual world, having relationships and various kinds, but they all end up in disappointment, even if we don't get divorced. Still, we have to separate at some point in time, isn't it? It's not like, we're married for eternity or something. It doesn't work like that. When in devotional service, we're married to try to assist each other to come to this platform of Bhakti Rasam Amrita, Bhakti Rasamrita. To come to that platform. It's not just to increase our material bondage and thus suffer as a result, but to try to bring pleasure to Krishna. So in married life, if we're thinking, one or the other is thinking in terms of their own sense gratification, then there's likely to be challenges. Definitely. There's challenges maybe there, but if we're putting Krishna in the center, those challenges can become impetuses for surrendering to Krishna. They can help us in our devotional service. But when there's incompatibility, the whole material world is incompatible. Nectar devotion spends almost half of the nectar devotion is discussing compatibility. Almost half of it. Relationships. It's all about relationship. Devotional service is all about relationship. Compatible relationships. From the material perspective, there is no such thing, because time, providence, karma, everything is changing all the time. So you may be compatible one day, you're not compatible the next. There's no such thing as permanent compatibility in this world. It doesn't exist. You may be close in one lifetime, but it doesn't exist in reality. There's always some, incompatible feature in every relationship. In the spiritual world, there is no incompatibility. And everything is properly balanced. It's like a meal. When it's properly spiced, nice, right? When it's not properly spiced, oh God. Oh no. As you're pulling out the vegetables and amongst all the spices, washing them, trying to have something to eat. In Malaysia it's sometimes like that. You don't pull the spices out, you have to pull the vegetables out of the spices, wash the vegetables so you can, hopefully they're not too impregnated with the spices. Sometimes it's like that, They love their chilies and their, star anises and so many things. So for some that's compatible, for some it's not. Depends which mood you're in, which mode. Modes of nature. Some people are compatible with this and some are not, because they're in different modes. So it's about finding out what is compatible. Do you want a chair, Sophie? Are you sure? Okay. Compatibility. So the Nectar devotion is primarily dealing with this subject matter of being compatible. Yeah, so then Prabhupada, the rest of the chapter, Prabhupada then describes how about what is love, what is real love. And says the basic principle, a living condition, is we have a general propensity to love somebody. Everybody wants it. The cow wants to love the calf, isn't it? The mother monkey wants to love the baby monkey. They do it in different ways. Mother wants to love the child. The lover wants to love the beloved. Friends, different kind of loving relationship. They relish their relationship. Everyone's looking for love, attention, love. I thought this propensity is present in every living being. Tigers. We can't see it, but it's there. Maybe it's pretty much dormant in the lowest, very lower, like tiny little insects. It may be very much small. Trees, very small, if manifest at all. But the propensity is there in every living entity. Propensity, at least in a dormant stage, Prabhupada said. And in humans, the missing point, however, is where to repose our love so that everyone could become happy. We see that people repose their love in objects which they like in this world. people they like, things they like. And then someone else reposes their love and it clashes, right? The clashes with ours. Either it's not directly incompatible or it's in competition with us. We're both trying to repose our love in one living entity, and you have a clash, right? Two boys after a girl, or two girls after a boy. What do you get? Two wives, right? Maybe. And you wish you never did after a while, probably. But sometimes that happens. But generally speaking, there's a clash. Sometimes a violent clash. Even death comes about. So strong is this urge. Family members also, for attention. Sometimes they get upset. But everyone's looking for it. The missing point, however, where to repose that love so everyone can become happy. Okay, you may do something, you may love your nation. Just like yesterday I was reading Mahatma Gandhi, right? Now he's known as one of the most philanthropic people in the political world, right? A man of principles, a man of righteousness, a man of freedom for the, gives the rights to the people, whatever it is. He's known in that regard, isn't he? As the people's man. Right? Yet in England, I think 2 days ago or something, in Manchester, they refused to allow there was some celebration, I mean maybe worldwide for Gandhi, maybe it was his birthday, I don't know, something, I don't think, but whatever. They refused to have any celebrations whatsoever. They said he's a racist. He's a racist, anti-black. They were claiming he was anti-black. So they weren't happy with him at all. I don't know if that's true, but they weren't happy with him at all. So you can't satisfy everyone. No way. And he wasn't even satisfied with all of his efforts. He was pretty disheartened when he left his body because he saw all his work was being basically put to waste. After his, handed over and all fell to pieces. So you can't satisfy everyone because other people have a completely different idea. Just like the story of King Shibi. Here's an example of satisfying everyone. King Shibi and the pigeon, and the hawk, the eagle. Now the eagle's chasing the pigeon to eat the pigeon. Pigeon flies into the king's court. King Shibi is sitting on his throne. Pigeon lands on his lap. Save me, save me. King said, of course I will. You are one of my citizens. What can I do for you? The eagle is coming to eat me. Please protect me. Oh, of course I will. So the eagle came in a few minutes later looking for the pigeon. Ah, king, give me the pigeon. The pigeon is mine. He is my food. You have to satisfy me also. Now, the king was in a dilemma. He promised to protect the pigeon, but he also has to satisfy the need of the eagle, whose food is the pigeon. So what to do? So he tried to reason with the eagle. He said, well, look, I promised protection, but I'll tell you what. You can take the flesh from my own body. I'll cut it off. You can eat that flesh. Oh, king's flesh is very, very tasty. I don't know if you ever had king's flesh, but it's very tasty. And the pigeon, the eagle agreed. He said, but to the weight of the pigeon. All right, then the pigeon's not very heavy, but at least it'll be flesh. So there's no bones, so we'll get more flesh. So he agreed. He started cutting off pieces of his leg and this and that. Still, the pigeon was heavier. He went on and on and on. Every flesh was gone. He had no flesh left. He was just about to put his whole body in the fire, on the scale rather. At that moment, the pigeon and the eagle revealed themselves as to who they actually are. They were demigods. One was Indra and one was someone else. And they were testing the king. To see how really charitable he is. He really is for the benefit of every living entity and not just for himself. And the king is supposed to be like that, but we see they're not. They're all out for their own thing, But that's materially. The real welfare work, as Rupa Goswami says, is Krishna consciousness, which is the only real beneficial work for all living entities. The present moment, human society teaches one to love his country, family, personal self. Are you going now?
I just have to go get a coupon for tomorrow.
Get some coupons. You'll be there at 7 o'clock, 10 to 7? I'll see you there at 10 to 7. Great, thanks. Thank you. You've got to get your coupons. But there is no information where to repose the loving propensity so that everyone can become happy. No one knows. Nectar devotion teaches us how to stimulate our original love of Godhead. How to be situated in that position where we can enjoy our blissful life. And it's not at the cost of anyone else. It actually helps everyone else when we're situated happily in Krishna consciousness. It's not that, oh, there's no room left, Prabhu, for you now. I've got Krishna consciousness. You'll have to go on the waiting list. The plane's full. There's no more space in the spiritual world, I'm afraid. You have to wait a few lifetimes. It's full. You see on the sign, some program, full. Car park, full. Spiritual world is never full. It's full and never full. So if we propose our love in Krishna, then one automatically experiences that Rasa Amrita. And so can everyone else. And when they associate with such a person, they also can awaken their bhakti rasa, their taste for the devotional service. The nectar devotion. This theme of where to repose our love is the sum and substance of the nectar devotion, which teaches us how to love Krishna in 5 different transcendental mellows. How to love Krishna. Our loving propensity expands just as a vibration of light or air expands. We do not know where it ends. It never ends. Nectar devotion teaches us the problem in material where we repose it on an object which ends. We repose it on a subject matter which comes to an end. We repose it on a person that comes to an end. So we always again and again become disturbed and distressed, and we're always in fear of losing the object of our love. Isn't it? That fear is always there. Every one of us. Losing our position, we're attached to our position. Losing our body, we love our body. Losing our family, we love our family. Losing our everything, our nation, whatever it is. Losing our money, we love our money. Losing our mobile, we love our mobile. Everything, we're always afraid of losing it. Our respect, everything. That's the material world. Because the object of our love is only temporary. So when you make the object of our love eternal, then there's no, cessation. There's no disappointment there. Our loving propensity expands. Nectar devotion teaches all men how to perform the simple and natural method of loving Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that will bring peace and harmony, which everyone's looking for. Because we love Krishna, we love it, because every living entity is part and parcel of Krishna. So if you love Krishna, really love Krishna, you're going to love everything and everybody, because everything is an expansion of Krishna. One have no enemy, no ill feelings towards anyone. In the conditioned state, we do. It's like pouring water, and Prabhupada gives an example of pouring water on the root of a tree, or feeding the stomach. You can't feed the ear. You can try if you want. You can try pushing what will you push down the ear? A bean. Try to stick a bean down the ear or something. It won't get very far. It might damage your ear. That's about the most you get out of it. Or sticking it up your nose. Try to put a chili pakora up your nose. You'll soon sneeze. Won't get very far. I won't mention the other openings of the body. Or you try to smear the sweet rice on your eyes. The honey. Smear honey on your eyes. Maybe that will help. It's a little medicinal. You won't be able to taste it though. So Prabhupada gives these. Because it's not possible to water every part of the tree. So we have, Prabhupada then describes how we're very advanced materially, but we're still not happy. We have skyscrapers, we have motorways, we have big cars, we have rockets going to the moon, almost. India sent a rocket to the moon, but they didn't quite make it. They fell short. They don't know how far, but they fell short. Great advancement, isn't it? We can send a rocket to the moon. Only costs 100 billion, but a great achievement. It doesn't do much good for anyone, does it? Even though we've got all these things, big this and that, all modern technology, we're still not happy. Still the same problems remain. America, perhaps the richest country, but still they're confused. I am appealing herewith, Prabhupada says, to such confused men to learn the art of devotional service as directed in Nectar of Devotion. Learn the art. I'm sure that their burning fire, material existence of the heart will be extinguished if they learn this science. And the same with all of us. We just have to learn the science and apply it. And this imitation or incompatibility is often there in our practical lives too. Sometimes out of necessity or ignorance for some reason. Nectar Devotion will give us practical hints how we can live in this material world perfectly engaged in devotional service and thus fulfill all our desires in this life and the next. Nectar Devotion is not presented to condemn any way of material life, but the attempt is to give information to religionists, philosophers, and people in general how to love Krishna. One may live without material discomfort, but at the same time he should learn the art of loving Krishna. At the present moment we are inventing so many ways to utilize our propensity to love, but factually we're missing the real point, Krishna. We are watering all parts of the tree, but missing the tree's root. Missing the real thing. Looking everywhere around, but missing the actual source, the real goal. Missing Krishna's means missing oneself also. Real self-realization and realization of Krishna go together simultaneously. For example, seeing oneself in the morning means seeing the sunrise also. You can't see yourself unless the sun rises. Of course we have artificial light, but without that, how can you see yourself in the mirror if there's no light? So if you see yourself in the mirror, that means the sun's rising. Simultaneous. So similarly, unless one has realized Krishna, there's no question of self-realization. It's not really maybe people call it liberation, but it's not self-realization. If you haven't realized the self business is to serve Krishna. The self exists in relationship with Krishna, not separate from Krishna. That's a false understanding. So it's another kind of maya, just to merge into the Brahman. The Nectar of Devotion is specifically presented for persons who are now engaged in the Krishna conscious movement. I beg to offer my sincere thanks to all my friends and disciples who are helping me to push forward Krishna conscious movement in the Western countries. I beg to acknowledge with thanks the contribution made by my beloved disciple Sriman Jayananda Brahmachari. My thanks are due as well to the directors of ISKCON Press who have taken so much care in publishing this great literature. Hare Krishna. That was in 1970, April, when Prabhupada wrote that preface. There's a nice little summary there of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and love, and like that, little mention of the waves, devotional service, but that will be more in the introduction. We'll come on to that next time maybe. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna. Well, I've got to go to the temple now. I'm supposed to lead the Damodar Astakam. So